Sienna God, hello all. Osha Sahia, good evening and Wado. Thank you for watching. This is day 19, part B of reading Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, an Inquiry into Values by Robert M. Persig. So we pre-select on the basis of quality, or to put it Phaedrus's way, the track of quality pre-selects what data we're going to be conscious of. And it makes the selection in such a way as to best harmonize what we are with, what we are becoming. Yeah. What do you have to do if you get caught in the assumption trap of valid rigidity? Is slow down. You're going to have to slow down anyway, whether you want to or not, but slow down deliberately and go over ground that you've been over before to see if things you thought were important were really important, and to, well, just stare at the machine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just live with it for a while. Watch it the way you watch a line when fishing, and before long, as sure as you live, you'll get a little nibble, a little fact, asking in a timid, humble way if you're interested in it. That's the way the world keeps on happening. Be interested in it. At first, try to understand this new fact, not so much in terms of your big problem as for its own sake. That problem may not be as big as you think it is. And that fact may not be as small as you think it is. It may not be the fact you want, but at least you should try, or excuse me, you should be very sure of that before you send the fact away. Often before you send it away, you will discover it has friends who are right next to it. That's hilarious. And are watching to see what your response is. Among the friends may be the exact fact you are looking for. After a while, you may find the nibbles you get are more interesting than your original purpose of fixing the machine. When that happens, you've reached a kind of point of arrival. Then you're no longer strictly a motorcycle mechanic, you're also a motorcycle scientist, and you've completely conquered the gumption trap of value rigidity. The road has come up into the pines again, but I see by the map that it won't be for long. There are some resort billboards along the road, and some kids beneath them, almost as if part of the advertisement, gather in pine cones. They wave, and in doing so, the littlest boy drops all his cones. No. I keep waiting to go back to that analogy of fishing for facts. I can just see somebody asking with great frustration, yes, but which facts do you fish for? There's got to be more to it than that. But the answer is that if you know which facts you're fishing for, you're no longer fishing. Exactly. You've caught them. I'm trying to think of a specific example. All kinds of examples from cycle maintenance could be given, but the most striking example of value rigidity I can think of is the Old South Indian monkey trap, which depends on value rigidity for its effectiveness. The trap consists of a hollowed out coconut chained to a stake. The coconut has some rice inside, which can be grabbed through a small hole. The hole is big enough so that the monkey's hand can go in, but too small for the fist with the rice in it to come out. The monkey reaches in and is suddenly trapped by nothing more than his own value rigidity. He can't revalue the rice. He cannot see that freedom without rice is more valuable than capture with it. The villagers are coming to get him and take him away. They're coming closer, closer now. What general advice, not specific advice, but what general advice would you give the poor monkey in circumstances like this? Well, I think you might say exactly what I've been saying about value rigidity, with perhaps a little extra urgency. There is a fact this monkey should know. If he opens his hand, he's free. But how is he going to discover this fact? By removing the value rigidity that rates rice above freedom. How is he going to do that? Well, he should somehow try to slow down deliberately and go over ground that he has been over before and see if things he thought were important really were important, and, well, stop yanking and just stare at the coconut for a while. Before long, he should get a nibble from a little fact, wondering if he is interested in it. He should try to understand this fact, not so much in terms of his big problem as for its own sake. That problem may not be as big as he thinks it is. That fact may not be as small as he thinks it is either. That's about all the general information you can give him. At Prairie City, we're out of the mountain forests again, and into a dry land town with a wide main street that looks right down through the center of town onto the prairie beyond it. We try one restaurant, but it's closed. We go across the broad street and try another, The door's open. We sit down and order malted milks. While waiting, I get the outline of the letter Chris was preparing for his mother and give it to him. To my surprise, he works on it without many questions. I sit back in the booth and don't disturb him. I keep feeling that the facts I'm fishing for concerning Chris are right in front of me too, but that some value rigidity of my own blocks me from seeing it. At times, we seem to move in parallel rather than in combination. Then, at odd moments, collide. His troubles at home always begin when he is imitating me, trying to command others the way I command him, particularly his younger brother. Naturally, the others aren't having any of his commands, and he can't see their right not to. And that's when all HEW hockey sticks breaks loose. He can't seem to care whether he is popular with anyone else. He just wants to be popular with me. Not healthy at all. Everything considered, it's about time for him to begin the long process of breaking away. That break should be as easy as possible, but it should be made. It's time to set him on his own feet, the sooner the better. And now, having thought all that, I don't believe it anymore. I don't know what the trouble is. That dream that keeps recurring haunts me because I can't escape its meaning. I'm forever on the other side of a glass door from him, which I don't open. He wants me to open it, and before I always turned away. But now there's a new figure who prevents me. Strange. After a while, Chris says he's tired of writing. We get up, I pay at the counter, and we leave. On the road now and talking about traps again. The next one is important. As the internal gumption trap of ego. Yes, I'm glad he's going over ego. Ego isn't entirely separate from value rigidity, but one of the many causes of it. If you have a high evaluation of yourself, then your ability to recognize new facts is weakened. Your ego isolates you from the quality reality. When the facts show that you've just goofed, you're not as likely to admit it. When false information makes you look good, you're likely to believe it. On any mechanical repair job, ego comes in for rough treatment. Oh yeah, it totally does. You're always being fooled. You're always making mistakes. And a mechanic who has a big ego to defend is at a terrific disadvantage. If you know enough mechanics to think of them as a group and your observations coincide with mine, I think you'll agree that mechanics tend to be rather modest and quiet. There are exceptions, but generally, if they're not quiet and modest at first, the work seems to make them that way. And skeptical, attentive but skeptical, but not egoistic. I thought it was egotistic. I have to look up what egoistic is. There's no way to BS your way into looking good on a mechanical repair job, except when someone who doesn't know what you're doing. I was going to say that the machine doesn't respond to your personality, but it does respond to your personality. It's just that the personality that it responds to is your real personality. Yeah, right. The one that genuinely feels and reasons and acts rather than any false blow-up personality images your ego may conjure up. These false images are deflated so rapidly and completely, you're bound to be very discouraged very soon if you've derived your gumption from ego rather than quality. Absolutely. And I always I always say to my hubster, you're literally not better than anybody, right? You're not special or whatever. You still have to take a breather. You still have to go step by step. You don't get a free pass. You don't get to skip ahead or whatever. Good grief. Well, fine. Can you just do it? And I'm I'm literally going to do the same thing as you. Right? Only it's not going to bother me. Right? Now I'm going to tell you, before I put in all the work, it totally bothered me. It totally did. I spent many times so upset that I'd cry over it, because I just knew that it should be working this way, this thing, whatever it is that it just wasn't working for me at the time. I'm but I'm doing all the things, what is it? And this shouldn't be happening to me. And so it's well, why not? Right? So clearly I had lessons to learn and I learned them. And so now something doesn't go my way or doesn't go the way that I think that it should, or something breaks when I didn't think that it should, or whatever it is, or I just can't figure it out. then I just take a breath and I'm like, okay, I'll go do something else. I'm going to pivot, right? I'm going to go do something else and I'll come back to this. And if I try and I still can't get it, I'll look up online, see how I can do it. I'll text my hubster, I'll call him or whatever. And I'm like, I just can't, or I'll send him photos of it. And I'm like, am I missing something here? And, you know, he'll be like, oh, this is just right there. Like, you missed it. And I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. Or if not, he's like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll take a look at it when I get home. And if I can't figure it out, maybe we can put our heads together or something, right? So, like, you gotta pivot. Now, just a couple of years ago, okay, I had this Dremel that I was working with for the first time ever, and the little thingy didn't come with the extra thing to hold it inside. So it had the little spinny thing, but it had nothing to keep it from falling out. So here I am tightening it down, and I turn over, beep, beep, the thing falls out. And I'm like, this can't be right. This thing's brand new. And I just felt so defeated. And I was just like, well, I'm going to ask my husband. And I thought it was going to be like an easy fix. And he's like, oh yeah, you just put the thing in the thing and you tighten it down. And I'm like, I'm doing that. And you put the thing in the thing and tighten it down. And I'm like, I'm freaking doing it. I'm doing it, right? Like, I'm not dumb. Like, I am smart, right? And I just started crying because he's telling me this. What he didn't understand is it didn't have this little cylindrical piece of metal that slides in there. It's kind of like, it forms kind of like a cuff or something. I think it has like a little slit in the side. So when you tighten it down on the Huya, it grabs a hold of it really good. He couldn't see that from the phone on FaceTime or anything. And I just had the biggest cry, right? I feel like that was like 3 years ago, maybe close to 3 years ago. And because our son was like 2 or whatever, he was a little fella. And yeah, and so he's over there like patting me and stuff, you know, but I just couldn't. Anyway, so yeah, it's growth, right? Anyhow, if modesty doesn't come easily or naturally to you, one way out of this trap is to fake the attitude of modesty anyway. That's why I say fake it till you make it. If you just deliberately assume you're not much good, then your gumption gets a boost when the facts prove this assumption is correct. This way you can keep going until the time comes when the facts prove this assumption is incorrect. Anxiety, the next gumption trap, is sort of the opposite of ego. You're so sure you'll do everything wrong, you're afraid to do anything at all. Yeah. Often this, I know people like that. Often this, rather than laziness, is the real person you find it hard. The real person you find it hard to get started. What? Okay, often this, rather than laziness, is the real reason you find it hard to get started. There we go. This gumption trap of anxiety, which results from over motivation, can lead to all kinds of errors of excessive fussiness. You fix things that don't need fixing and chase after imaginary ailments. You jump to wild conclusions and build all kinds of errors into the machine because your own nervousness. These errors, when made, tend to confirm your original underestimation of yourself. This leads to more errors, which lead to more underestimation in a self-stoking cycle. Yeah. The best way to break this cycle, I think, is to work out your anxieties on paper. Read every book and magazines you can on the subject. Your anxiety makes this easy, and the more you read, the more you're calm. You should remember that it's peace of mind you're after and not just a fixed machine. When beginning a repair job, you can list everything you're going to do on little slips of paper, which you then organize into proper sequence. You discover that you organize and then reorganize the sequence again and again as more and more ideas come to you. The time spent this way usually more than pays for itself in time saved on the machine and prevents you from doing fidgety things that create problems later on. You can reduce your anxiety somewhat by facing the fact that there isn't a mechanic alive who doesn't louse up a job once in a while. The main difference between you and the commercial mechanics is that when they do it, you don't hear about it. Just pay for it. An additional cost prorated through all your bills. Ooh, Lord. When you make the mistakes yourself, you at least get the benefit of some education. That's true. My hamster, oh my God. He puts so much pressure on himself that like it paralyzes him. Like, especially like when it's stuff that's for us, not for customers and his business, but like for us. Cause like he thinks like that he should be able to do whatever instead of having a learning curve or whatever. He believes he should do it right away and it should be dead great. And so it just like, I'm in a lose sleep over it. And it's just debilitating. It's just unfortunate. Boredom is the next gumption trap that comes to mind. This is the opposite of anxiety and commonly goes with ego problems. Boredom means you're off the quality track. You're not seeing things freshly. You've lost your beginner's mind and your motorcycle is in great danger. Boredom means your gumption supply is low and must be replenished before anything else is done. When you're bored, stop. Go to a show. Turn on the TV. Call it a day. Do anything but work on that machine. If you don't stop, the next thing that happens is the big mistake. And then all the boredom plus the big mistake combined together in one Sunday punch to knock all the gumption out of you, and you are really stopped. My favorite cure for boredom is sleep. It's very easy to get to sleep when you're bored and very hard to get bored after a long rest. My next favorite is coffee. I usually keep a pot plugged in while working on the machine. If these don't work, it may mean deeper quality problems are bothering you and distracting you from what's before you. The boredom is a signal that you should turn your attention to these problems. That's what you're doing anyway, and control them before continuing on the motorcycle. For me, the most boring task is cleaning the machine. It seems like such a waste of time. It just gets dirty again the first time you ride it. John always kept his BMW spick and span. It really did look nice, while mine's always a little ratty, it seems. That's the classical mind at work. Runs fine inside, but looks dingy on the surface. One solution to boredom on certain kinds of jobs, such as greasing and oil changing and tuning, is to turn them into a kind of ritual. There's an aesthetic to doing things that are unfamiliar and another aesthetic to doing things that are familiar. I have heard that there are two kinds of welders: production welders who don't like tricky setups and enjoy doing the same thing over and over again, and maintenance welders who hate it when they have to do the same job twice. The advice was that if you hire a welder, make sure which kind he is, because they're not interchangeable. I'm in that latter class, and that's probably why I enjoy troubleshooting more than most and dislike cleaning more than most. But I can do both when I have to, and so can anyone else. When cleaning, I do it the way people go to church. Not so much to discover anything new, although I'm alert for new things, but mainly to reacquaint myself with the familiar. It's nice sometimes to go over familiar paths. Zen has something to say about boredom. Its main practice of just sitting has got to be the world's most boring activity, unless it's that Hindu practice of being buried alive. Right. You don't do anything much, not move, not think, not care. What could be more boring? Yet in the center of all this boredom is the very thing Zen Buddhism seeks to teach. What is it? What is it at the very center of boredom that you're not seeing? Impatience is close to boredom, but always results from one cause: an underestimation of the amount of time the job will take. You never really know what will come up, and very few jobs get done as quickly as planned. Impatience is the first reaction against a setback and can soon turn to anger if you're not careful. Impatience is best handled by allowing an indefinite time for the job, particularly new jobs that require unfamiliar techniques, by doubling the allotted time when circumstances force time planning, and by scaling down the scope of what you want to do. Overall goals must be scaled down in importance, and immediate goals must be scaled up. This requires value flexibility, and the value shift is usually accompanied by some loss of gumption. But it's a sacrifice that must be made. It's nothing like the loss of gumption that will occur if a big mistake caused by impatience occurs. That's true. My favorite scaling down exercise is cleaning up nuts and bolts and studs and tapped holes. I've got a phobia about crossed or jimmied or rust jammed or dirt jammed threads that cause nuts to turn slow or hard. And when I find one, I take its dimensions with a thread gauge and calipers, get out the taps and dies, right, recut the threads on it, then examine it and oil it. And I have a whole new perspective on patience. Another one is cleaning up tools that have been used and not put away and are cluttering up. There we go. Cluttering up the place. This is a good one because one of the first warning signs of impatience is frustration and not being able to lay your hand on the tool you need right away. If you just stop and put the tools away neatly, you will both find the tool and also scale down your impatience without wasting time or endangering the work. Don't go hang a gay, you in a gachaske. Till we meet again. Love you, mean it.